We all are remembering today Kobe Bryant, the basketball legend, died yesterday at the age of 41. Kobe and his daughter were among 9 people who were killed when their helicopter crashed into a hillside in Calabasas, California yesterday morning. So weather was extremely foggy yesterday, and according to flight tracker information, Kobe's chopper first encountered weather issues above the LA Zoo. Before, it circled the area at least 6 different times, most likely waiting for the fog to clear. Kobe and his 13-year-old daughter Gianna were on board when the flight crashed into the hillside. Among the other victims were John Altobelli, an Orange County baseball coach, his wife Carrie and daughter Alyssa, who also played on the team with Gianna, youth basketball coach Christian Mauser, Sarah Chester, and her daughter Peyton, who also played on the team. And we also want to mention that the helicopter pilot Ara Zobayan also perished. I also want to make clear we are trying to get confirmation on how to pronounce all those names. We want to give the respect where it's due, but it's all coming in quite fast, so I just wanted to give that out. Officials held a press conference earlier with an update of what's going on in the investigation. Take a look.
As you can imagine, this is going to be a very extensive process. It's going to take not just days but weeks for us to recover from this. And right now, it's as you can imagine, it's a logistical nightmare in a sense, because the crash site itself is not easily accessible. However, we're now faced with, I guess, well-wishers and people mourning who have descended on the area, on the residential community, and even the crash site itself. And we have to reiterate, it is off limits to everybody except the first responders and investigators.
So I want to just go around first off and just say your first reactions. How did you find out? What went through your mind? I was hiking in the mountains and it was all snow. And when we came back, this phone started pinging and it was Al saying Kobe died. And I thought for sure he meant the Kobe beef industry. I don't know why, but it was so far from my mind that he could have possibly died. He was so healthy to me. I kept saying he's so healthy. Where were you, Al, when you found out?
I was having lunch kind of over where our co-host Erica lives, and my girl told me that, showed me a screenshot of it, and once I verified it, you know, obviously you go through the range of emotions. I'm a huge basketball fan first, but it just became a Kobe fan because we literally, in 1996, he kind of came along right when people were first starting to get their email address. So we kind of, he started almost right when the internet did. So you would see him in high school and then start to watch him in college, in his career. So he literally grew up right in front of us. And then I think the most important thing for me, and it's just because I've experienced it as well, is we saw him transform from being a champion basketball competitor to embracing the second phase of his life. And I think we all know men and women, but especially men, that get so caught up in accolades and what you've achieved that you see guys that kind of push their family to the side, and then when they're 75 years old in a rocking chair, they're like, oh, I wish I had known my kids better. Kobe didn't do that. He was already with his kids all the time. And as I was with my daughter at her volleyball tournament last weekend, I realized that there's nowhere in the world I'd rather be than right there. So it's just so important, you know, that he got a chance to do that with her.
Yeah, I think he just cared deeply about the next generation. That's why people who weren't basketball fans were so affected by this, because he was like this esoteric being that was untouchable. So once Kobe Bryant can die in a plane crash, you realize how fragile life is, right? So if we see somebody who we admire so much and who lived this big and very full life cut so short, I think we all are faced with the reality that nothing is promised. And so we all hugged our sisters and brothers and loved ones yesterday really tight, because his life was just cut way too short.
It was a profound feeling across the world that you could go at any moment, right? I hugged Brooks like I've never hugged Brooks.
Brooks, your husband.
My husband. Brandon, you're a professional athlete, or how does this feel to you?
I never met Kobe, but he was my Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Because as I was growing up playing professional sport or trying to get to professional sports, just thinking about how hard he worked. Tori, we did that segment, I believe, a year ago. We were talking about the Mamba mentality, where he told those kids about, and he gave them a lesson about winning a fourth-place trophy, and how he made them work their butts off, and then they won a championship because of that. And that's where he was going. He was going to the Mamba Academy with his daughter, Gigi, who is his legacy because she loved basketball. to work with kids for basketball, and you just think about it as there are times I was going through my career getting cut from the NFL or oh, I don't feel like working out today, but you're thinking to yourself, Kobe Bryant is the best player in the world right now, and he gets up 5-something in the morning and he trains and he goes through tremendous workouts. He works on his skill set, his craft over and over again, and that's how you develop that Mamba mentality in that moment. Fast forward to at the end of his career, when he called it, he retired. He started Kobe Inc. He has his own production company. He's the first athlete to win an Oscar. Yeah, right. The man won an Oscar for his animated short film for Dear Basketball. And you just look at the love and the admiration that's not only coming through people, but from my fellow athletes and talking about what Kobe really meant to us. And you just sit there, you can't, it's hard for me to wrap my head around like what happened. I was in the Dallas-Fort Worth TSA line when I read it. And it's just one of those things what Lindsay said. We wake up every day and we're all arguing about impeachments and Dems right and Dems left. That stuff means absolutely nothing, because at the end of the day, your objective is to get home to your family, get back home, and you pray that you can just do that. So it's just one of those things where it was just hard to wrap my head around. And we grew up in a generation to where when every time we threw something in the trash can, what would we say? Last one for you, Mamba.
That's right.
Kobe.
Kobe. That's right.
That's for you, Mamba.